now all of a sudden that 8 to 10 yards has now gone 43 yards. I want to talk a little bit about short game today, and most notably pitching, but this exercise I've got with you today can work literally through the bag, but it's bespoke for your short game today. Let's get into it. Now, pitching, chipping, short game is a shot that creates fear. I mean, it certainly created fear for me. One of the reasons why I packed up playing was my discomfort, shall we say, with pitching. It got as far as yips. It felt uncomfortable. I was having a lot of coaching, a lot of disputable instruction, shall we say, and it really led me down a dark road. And this was one of the ways that helped me with my short game. But not only did it get rid of my discomfort, but it really dialed my shots in. I've got a metronome down here, and some of you may or may not, those musicians of you out there, will know that it's a bit of tech that allows us to have a consistent speed of beep, and we can manage that beep to the shot. So I'm going to take my 3 wedges here, and my 3 wedges in my bag are a 58, a 54 and a 50. So I'm going to start off with the 58, and what I'm going to do, and most people will think of a metronome as thinking about tempo, and of course it is going to apply tempo, but what I want it to be used for today is not only controlling your tempo, but your ability to control your distance. So I'm going to start the metronome off at 75 beats per minute, which is quite a small value. It makes the beats very close together. Now, what I'm going to use the beats for is the beat for the takeaway and the beat for the strike. And when you first do this, it will feel hurried. And if you're anxious at the start, don't be worried, because that usually makes it feel that way, because it's all of a sudden someone telling you when to start and when to finish. But the second beat is where the contact point needs to be. So I'm going to take it away on the first beep, and the second beep is going to be at strike. So for a 75 beat per minute, it's more of a chip motion. And whatever your default cadence is, will really determine the value, but start at 75. And I'm going to hit 75 beats per minute with my 58, my 54 and my 50. Got the carry up, got the usual 4 boxes on top of that. So let's hit one. And so all I'm doing here is taking the club away on the first beat and reproducing it on the second beat. And as you can see, that ends up being quite a short swing, because of course, if I made a longer swing at those beats and I wanted it to be the first one, the takeaway, and the second one at strike, I'd have to be really, really quick, and that'd feel uncoordinated, be out of control. So I want to match the length of swing that makes me feel comfortable that I can take it away and reproduce the club back at the golf ball within that 75 beats per minute. And that, for me, equates to the length of swing that I'm making. And for that, the golf ball is going nuts and bolts 8 yards. Let's have another go. 9 yards. So it's really, really simple. Beat, beat, and it will start to control the length of your swing and the length of the through swing. Now I'm going to do exactly the same with my next lofted club, my 54. Exactly the same beats, 75 rather, with a 54-degree wedge. And now all of a sudden the golf ball goes 12 yards. Not quite the strike on that one. Still went 11.4 yards though. So all of a sudden, because the loft has come down, shaft is slightly longer, the ball is now going 4-5 yards in carry further for the same beats per minute. Now I'm going to take out my 50 and do exactly the same. And now the ball goes 20 yards. So instead of controlling the length of my swing, I'm controlling the beats of my swing and letting the beats of my swing control the speed and the length. But what I'm able to cling on to is 75 beats with a 50-degree wedge goes around the 23-yard mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce it by 5 beats. The 5 beats less now allows me to make a slightly longer swing, more time to make a swing in. And so that 5 beats less gives me 5 beats more time and almost doubles the yardage. Going to go all the way back down to the lob wedge here that we started with, that was going around the 8 to 10 yards. Now all of a sudden that 8 to 10 yards has now gone 43 yards. You can see the impact of 5 beats per minute. But what it allows me to do is to have not only a metronomic beat that I can start to dial into repeatedly, it really gives me a range of values with my wedges based on a constant, which is allowing me to really tap into some nice rhythm. And that rhythm, as we all know, is the hallmark of a good golf swing, is the hallmark of great short game. But we must also understand, let me just turn that off. What we must also understand is that the moment that the golf club sets and unsets, the ability to feel the club swing is when the golf club starts to feel heavier. And the moment that golf club starts to feel heavier is when the club starts to feel its velocity, its speed. And you're trying to time that moment, that swinging moment, with the second beat. So when you've got it playing, you're able to start to tie up, if you haven't seen it, the break phase of the downswing, where the golf club will swing at the bottom. So it's a really simple way of working on some good dynamics within your golf swing and tying it up with a constant that's a tempo that's going to glue all of this together. And it was interesting. Rory was in an interview yesterday where he's just spent 3 or 4 weeks practicing in a net with no visuals. What a waste of time that is. But the idea of it is so that he can detract himself from the visuals. But the minute he hits the shot, he'll be straight into reacting to it. But that's my take. But what he sold it, the way he sold it to himself is that his swing relies on timing, relies on nuances of gelling his motion together. I mean, that is the biggest sales pitch by any golf coach going. The minute that golf club is set in a golf swing, which is set in every single player's golf swing, that golf club needs to unload. Whether the club is unloading from inside, whether the club is unloading from outside, whatever you do, if you repeat it, it's always going to need timing and tempo because you're swinging a weight, a heavy end around a light end, and that needs timing. So never kid yourself that timing isn't a massive factor to the best golf swings in the world. And hopefully this metronome has given you a little bit of an opportunity to cling on to something that is a constant when you're practicing. And the metronome will actually suck you away from your contact. The metronome will suck you away from the nuances of your golf swing, and it will really make you just think about the set and unload, set and unload. And when you feel that set and unload and that freedom, whatever your golf swing looks like in that moment is what it looks like. But what you'll gain by being in that moment of just being about the set and unload and the beats per minute the metronome offers up is you'll be in a place of real freedom, real flow, which, as you all know, when you're getting close to...
If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed.
To the green, you've hit yourself a cracking drive, and now you've got to hit the golf ball somewhere in the region of 50 yards. The free flowing swing down at the bottom to hit that 50-yard shot is crucial. Bit more practice needed for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope that's been insightful. As usual, I think you'll agree, that's good coaching.